Ice. Oh yeah. Beauty. Oh yeah.
We'll get into Boston a little later, okay? But, boy, I bet you'd love to have Marty McSorley on your club.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of players in the league nowadays that there's probably a lot of people out there thinking they're overpaid. Marty McSorley just got a great contract, and he is not overpaid. He's a great player.
Yeah, you know, you say, you know, is anybody worth $1 million or is anybody worth $2 million? But if anybody in the league's worth $2 million, it's got to be Marty.
Well, he's worked obviously very, very hard to improve his game to the level that it is now, and he's fought every tough guy in the league. He's done everything he could to make himself a better player, and that should be rewarded.
Well, you can see by his dad. Now, where were you born and raised?
Born in Moncton, New Brunswick, and raised in Nova Scotia. My dad was playing hockey at the time that I was born in Moncton, and we then moved to Halifax shortly after. Lived in Sydney, Nova Scotia for a few years, and moved back to Halifax. So Halifax is where I'm
You're
from.
an Eastern boy then, eh?
Full-blooded Maritime.
All right. Now, what was your thing? All right. Well, there's the guys, PE guys right here now. The ball team, the Twins from PEI, Gerard Gerland.
Good luck.
Yeah, they're down 2. They say they're coming back. I don't know.
Never count out a Maritime.
Yeah, it's never count out the PEA guys. Now, listen. Your favorite team growing up?
Actually, it was the Boston Bruins.
Of course! I knew that. The Shell 38 goes in there.
Yeah, because in the Maritimes, we all grew up with the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, 38 goes in there. Do you have a hero?
Bobby Orr.
Hello! Do I have great guys out here? 6 years, you played 6 years pro. Tell us how many cities you're in.
I can't name the cities. It's a lot easier to say. Actually, I did play 8 years pro, but I played a lot in the minor leagues within various cities. But I played in the Winnipeg Jets organization, a year with the Detroit Red Wings, 2 years in the St. Louis Blues organization, and 2 years with the Atlanta Flames. So up and down, but it was a lot of fun.
Rose and I was in, I played 16 years and then I coached. We figured out Rose and I moved 53 times. I don't know how, 53 times. I'm kidding you.
That's about right, because when you're moving in for the winter and then moving
out.
back for the summer, doing it again every...
We could be gone in 20 minutes. Just throw in this disco, the fish, away we go. Now, how come the best coaches are always mediocre players? Why is that?
Well, it's a combination, I believe. It's a fact that we sit on the bench a lot and we analyze the game, but also there's that intense love of the game, because obviously we're not the most skilled players in the league, and we have to analyze the game and do whatever we can to survive and play as long as we do. And,
baseball too.
Exactly right.
Sparky Anderson and all those guys, they
weren't great players, but they had an intense love of the game.
Yeah, or you wouldn't hang around for the lousy pay I was getting.
Yeah, well, you gotta love the game, and you know that.
You better believe it. Now, your assistant was Barry Long. I had Barry Long when I coached Team Canada in Sweden. Was he a tough defenseman or what?
Yeah, he was a great defensive defenseman. He blocked a lot of shots, and he came to play every night. He was the captain of the team the year I was in Winnipeg, 1980-81, and he was a very inspirational leader for us.
Then you went from Dan Maloney, then you went to Fergie. I'd like to have those 3 guys in a fight. I mean, what tough
There wasn't
coaches.
a lot of room back behind the bench. Those 3 guys took up a lot of room at a time, but
nobody answered them back.
Nobody bothered the player. The players did not answer us back, is right.
Now, look, you went along like me. You and I, we'll get into that a little later. You're in the American Hockey League, general manager and coach.
Yeah, it was a great learning experience. I was in Winnipeg Jets for 4 years as an assistant coach, and knew if I was going to become a head coach in the National League, I needed more experience running my own team. So at that point, 1987, Winnipeg, under John Ferguson, moved their farm team to Moncton, New Brunswick, and I moved home for a couple of 2 years in Moncton, and then 2 years with the Boston Bruins organization in Portland, Maine.
Yeah, now what did you think when the Bruins said, we'd like you to coach the Bruins? What was your first thought?
I thought it was an honor, and I also thought it would be a great learning experience, because I wanted to go work for the Boston Bruins and find out why that organization wins every year.
Every year? No team in sport.
They do it.
No team in sport like the Boston Bruins have won 25 straight years of winning tradition. Right. This is not Harry Sinden. No, I'm just kidding. No, Harry's a good guy. We'll get into Harry a little later. Now, when you walked into the Gardens, and it was empty. I remember when I walk in there, you can almost feel ghosts in there. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well,
feeling.
you can, because you look up in the rafters. The first thing you do is you walk in, you look up, and you see Bobby Orr and Dick Clapper and Eddie Shore and all the great players and all the great Celtics players and all the Stanley Cup banners from both the Celtics and the Bruins, and you know it's a very special place in sports history.
Now, behind the bench there, when you walk behind the bench, and you looked out and the place is jammed, the fans can almost touch you, and they're looking at you too.
Oh, and they're watching everything you do, and when they don't like what you do, you hear about it in a hurry. But it's a tremendous place to coach. I really enjoyed it, and there was obviously some downtimes throughout the season because we had some lulls where things weren't going very well, and they wanted my neck, but
I want to ask you,
enjoyed it.
were you the guy that told two guys to take their equipment off?
Yeah, I guess I was.
Yeah, I just thought of that now. Hey, that was kind of funny. I never heard of that before.
Well, it was.
Sweeney was one.
A lot of players were injured that year. We were going through players left, right, and center. We weren't building a team chemistry because of the changeover of the personnel. I had to do something that would get them all mad at me. And
Boy.
I went in that period because things weren't going very well. I have to do something drastic here to get their attention. So I just went in, picked two guys who I thought were leaders of the hockey club, and just told them, hey, get your equipment. You're not working hard enough, get your equipment off. You know, that's it for the night. And actually the response I wanted was 15 guys to stand up and say, no, coach, you can't do that. We're winning together, we're going to lose together, and the whole thing. That never happened.
No.
So I didn't know what to do, so I just left the room.
Yeah, and well, it worked because you turned the guys around eventually.
It worked. The timing was right because we were then going home for like 8 out of our next 10 were at home. And of course the Boston Bruins and the Boston Gardens are tough to beat. And I think we won 9 of the next 10 games.
Well, it worked. See what I mean? Great coaches. See what
But you got to gamble. Now the other side of the coin
could have been
straight down the tubes, but at that point you've got to do what you think is right and you got to live with it. You got to live with it.
Tough bench. We got a little clip. What happens on the bench in Boston if you don't keep your heads up? You ready, Blue? Show it right here now. Watch this. You look pretty calm there.
Yeah. Deflected off Bork's arm. There's Bowness, fifth side of the head. Down, he was just down like a felt. Oh, tree. It just hit him right side of the head.
Free scoring affair, 4-3 for Quebec. Their goals by Nolan, by Huff.
You were all right. It hit you on the head, right?
I was safe then.
Yeah, all right. Now,
can't hurt cement.
What a city, Boston. Is it? And the fans, unbelievable,
Fantastic sports city, and they're very, very loyal fans, very supportive, obviously. And again, as I said earlier, when you're not going well, they're on you. But when you're going well, the electricity that builds in that garden is unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's one of the top rinks in the world to play in, and you can feel it on the bench.
Too bad they're going to tear it down a couple
more years. And anyone who has not been to a game in either Chicago Stadium or the Boston Garden, make sure you get there before they rip them down. It's a lot of fun going in their rinks.
You'll regret it. You only had Neely for 9 games, but what a beautiful person he is.
Yeah, he was. He worked very hard getting to the games, getting to the rink to play, and as you know, because of his serious injury, and we only had him for 9 games. I think we won 6 of them, but he'd sit on the bench, and I've never seen a player so intense. I mean, a lot of guys get on the bench and they're bouncing around and they're yelling and screaming. Cam just sits there and analyzes what's going on and gets himself focused for the next shift. And you see the other players kind of looking at him to see what he's going to do, and they feed off him. 9 goals, 9 games. He's just so intense, tremendous competitor, and that rubs off on everybody.
I cry every time I look at that hit that I have about that. Yeah. What do we call him? No, I'll just say Samuelson. We're on TV.
Samuelson in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Playoffs. What a playoffs you had in Boston. We covered those. That was unbelievable. You beat Montreal 4 straight. What a series.
Well, going into the playoffs, that was the year again we had gone through 55 players, and the team really didn't gel probably until the 1st of March, or just after the Olympics, when Joe Juneau, Teddy Donato, Stephen Hines, and Glenn Murray came up from the juniors. That's when the team started to gel because the talent level improved. And we hit our peak at the right time at the end of the year, which is very important, obviously. We had a very tough series with Buffalo. They took us to 7 games. Very fortunate to win the 7th game, but we worked very hard, and we were ready for Montreal. And we sensed right away Montreal just didn't have it together. You just, you know, how you walk there and you get that feeling. These guys are struggling a little bit. So we jumped on them and we didn't back off. And again, we got some great performances from Ray Bourque.
Boy, he's something,
until he broke his thumb that series. And Andy Moog was sensational. So it was a lot of fun. But then the night we eliminated Montreal in 4 games, all of a sudden the ice was littered with Bruins because of the sweep. And usually the game is over, the fans leave the rink, they wouldn't leave that night.
I know, we got a little clip here. Watch this. We got everything for you here, Rick. Watch this. Let's see it.
Yes, it's going to be Peter Norris. Empty net. Over.
Big turnover. I think Jimmy Weaver's left.
Jimmy Weaver's the only guy left in the whole
He's the
team.
only guy there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was unbelievable. But what a feeling that was. Now, after that game, you went in and you had a great interview with McLean on Hockey Night in Canada. Tell us about it, what you said. I'm putting you on the spot here. And when he asked you,
Which interview?
Well, the one where he said, what do you credit all the wins for? And you said Harry Sinden, what a great guy he is. Remember that?
Well, he was the general manager of the club, and you've got to remember throughout that season we had some lulls,
Yes.
and everyone was screaming for my neck. I think in October and
Yeah.
December and March. And
Well, it's coming.
Somehow, yeah, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming up. But somehow he hung in there with me, and what the heck?
And I patted him on the back, and I said, all I'm telling you, Rick, old boy, you won. Keep your back up against the wall, because it's funny how things work out with him and I. We were mediocre players. Well,
You were. Probably a lot better than I was.
anyhow. And we went to the American Hockey League, and general manager and coach. We went to the Boston Bruins with Harry. You 4 straight, you beat out Canadians, and you get fired. I went to the 7th game in overtime with the Stanley Cup champions, Montreal Canadiens, and I got fired after that. So it was unbelievable. And now I went from the very best, you went from the very, very best, and I went to Colorado the very worst, and you went to Ottawa the very worst. So we're kind of kindred brothers there, aren't we?
But you lasted a lot longer in Boston than I did.
No, that's true. Yeah, I was there. I've actually, nobody knows, I coached longer and had more wins than any other Boston Bruin coach.
Well,
Do you like that? 7 years. Anyhow, now, when you look down the bench in Ottawa, like I did when I used to look in Colorado, Bobby Orr, get out there. Oh, no, Phil, no. It's pretty tough when you can't say Neely and Bork and them get out there.
No, that's right. It's a very comforting feeling when you're down a goal or you're hanging onto a lead and you look down and there's Ray Bork sitting there. And that's a very comforting feeling for a coach because you know exactly what he's going to do. And obviously we did not have the talent level with the Ottawa Senators this year, but I do say that I was very proud of the players, and whenever I put them on the ice, they gave us everything they possibly could, night in and night out. And we had 10 wins, and I'm very proud of the team because they gave us everything they could, and that's all you can ask.
How about the, you better believe it, and how about the opening night? You thought, hey, this is going to be a piece of cake. We did the game.
Yeah, but then they made us play that second game. They played a trick on us, and then it went downhill in a hurry. We could have stopped right there. We were great.
How about the opening night? I mean, what did you think when all the fires? And
Well, we stay in the background. As you know, you're in the office and you're pacing and you're worrying about the game, and everyone else is screaming and watching figure skaters and everything else that was going on. And we're in there saying, let's get this foolishness over so we can get on with the game. That's what we're here for. But it was a very entertaining show and a very special night because obviously Ottawa was not a favorite to get a National Hockey League franchise. A lot of people did a lot of good things, a lot of hard work. They brought the franchise back to Ottawa, and it was a special night for everyone. So it was nice to win that opening game, take the pressure off.
You know, I was in Colorado. I always, maybe you don't want to answer this, but I'll say it anyhow. I always got the idea that the referees were not, you know, some games they weren't quite as intense, I'll put it that way, and really didn't care about the game that much when they were reffing the Colorado. Do you get that feeling?
Well, when you get that feeling, you have to let them know that that's exactly how you're
Yeah.
feeling. So you get a little vocal, and after a while, they just kind of they stop listening to you. But you get that feeling automatically because you're in last place. You think everyone's against you anyways, and no matter what happens, you're going to get the wrong call. But that's probably not the case. That's just coach's paranoia.
Did you have, like, I remember driving to practice sometimes, and like I had Hardy Astrom. At least you had pretty good goaltenders anyhow. I mean, I
remember Hardy Astrom.
You remember Hardy?
Few do,
Say
but
no
I
more.
do.
The Swedish Siv. But anyhow, he was my goalie. Now, his only problem as a goaltender was pucks.
Yeah.
But anyhow, you go into the practice, and you're helpless. You almost feel, what can I do? Like, and did you ever wake up? Now, I'm going to ask you another funny one. Did you ever wake up at 4 a.m.? And that's when I used to wake up, 4 a.m. every morning.
Yep, and some mornings you wake up at 4 a.m. There's nothing there, but I had a lot of mornings this week, or this year I should say, that I woke up at 4 o'clock and there was something there. Okay, this is what we're going to do today to change things around.
But isn't it fun? Why is it 4 a.m.?
I don't know.
I
A
mean,
couple hours sleep, that's enough. We feel rested. We're anxious to get back at it. I don't know. Either that or we're all nuts.
Somebody said to me, do you take the game, when I was in Colorado, I was on TV, he said, do you take the game home with you? I said, no, I leave it in a bar. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you, you got great support. I never heard one criticism from your management. I never heard one criticism of you. They've always
Well,
praised you right from the start.
We've hung in there so far, but we've also had tremendous support from the fans. They've been outstanding. We won 10 games, 9 at home, and
No
1 on the
booze.
road. No
They never boozed.
Very, very supportive, and it's going to be a tremendous franchise in the league. The fans love the players. The players, it's a great city to live in. They're going to really enjoy living there as the franchise builds, and we become a contender down the road. But it's going to be a great franchise. They're great fans and very, very supportive of a bad hockey club.
That's all you can ask, like you said, of guys to try and give 100%, just like you did. Way to go, Rick, boy! Don't you go away. You're right back with Rick. I tell you. Oh, super. You got everything. Bill, we talk about Marty getting a lot of dough. How about that Alexander Daig? Did I say that right?
You said it right.
Whoa. How much dough is he getting?
$12.5 million over 5 years. And,
Not shabby.
as coach of a team that just won 10 games, I hope he earns every cent of it.
The kid's pretty good. I saw him play. He got lots of guts, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't take a lot of garbage out there. He fights back, so he has that feistiness. He wants to be a leader, and a lot of guys play very soft out there. He doesn't. He wants to take charge, and when people take advantage of him, he's not afraid to stand up for himself, much like Dougie Gilmour does. They take the heat, they want the heat, and we'll let them take it.
That silly rumor that happened this summer, what the heck's going on there?
Well, unfortunately, it wasn't a rumor because it got national attention, but obviously something was said, obviously something was misinterpreted what was said, but certainly no truth to the fact that any of our players ever did anything other than 100% on the ice. And as I said earlier, I was very proud of the players, and I was proud of them during the season, proud of them after, and even when this garbage broke loose, I was still very proud of them because I knew that those guys gave us everything we had, every ounce of energy we had. So it was just something was said, something was misquoted, and everything was blown out of proportion, and it'll die off.
We got to go in 30 seconds or even less. I wish the instigator rule was not in to help guys like Dagley and Mario and that. That's the worst rule, do you agree, that's ever been put in?
I mean, to help them.
Well, like remember when Kasperitis knocked around Mario? Tocchet couldn't come in because he'd been thrown out of the game.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you because I like the instigator rule because it stops the opposition from coming out to get those guys. But if they're being taken advantage of, then the refs have got to step in and take care of that guy.
Remember, Rick, when somebody goes and knocks around Dagley, you're going to be sorry. Put it there, Rick. Boy, all right there. Put it there, Bill. We'll see you next week, folks. We'll see you next week.
Join us next time for the Grapevine when Don